Hello, EDL 602 students. I am your instructor, Dr. Cockrell, and I am coming on just to give you some weekly updates. This will be for week 2. I like to start with the module. I always like to start with the Canvas module so that you know exactly where to go to find things. So as we look at the Canvas shell right now, I am on the home screen and I just picked one of the course Canvas shells to go through. When you're in this part of the screen, you can go to the modules here. You can check your grades here, figure out who's in your class here. But let's just look at the module for week 2. I enjoy being on the virtual class with each of you on Saturday. I think we covered a lot of ground with what we needed to know and do for week 1. I am noticing a lot of people have gotten all of their assignments in. As just a quick reminder, please don't get behind. The hardest thing is to catch up, especially when you have multiple classes. Now, in week 2, all of the things that are here are due for you on August 31st, right? This location right here where it says Instructor Weekly Video, I will upload this video right underneath that. So the lesson breakdown for this week, you are to read chapter 1, domain 1, data-driven focus on school improvement, and chapter 2, instruction of a viable and guaranteed curriculum in your textbook that we discussed on Saturday. Now, domain 1 is going to focus all about how does data drive the school? How is it that a data-driven focused environment helps the school, helps you as a leader? Now, when you get into domain 2, that's the instruction of a viable and guaranteed curriculum. How is it that we are making sure all students have access to the curriculum? How are we supporting our teachers in the curriculum? We discussed those two domains on Saturday. If you did not join us on Saturday, there is an upload recording of that class in week 1 at the very bottom of week 1 on the Canvas shell. Now, as we get into what the expectations are for this week, we are now getting into our domains where we're having to really dig deep into those and get a better understanding of how those domains affect us as a leader. So, the purpose of this particular assignment and all of the domain assignments are set up pretty much the same. Is that you are going to be coming up with a strategic leadership plan. So, if I am the leader and I want to get my plan together around a data driven and a curriculum centered environment, I would challenge myself as I'm reading the textbook, challenge myself by applying the concepts to form a realistic school scenario, right? So the goal is to promote critical thinking. You're going to be critically thinking, synthesizing, and then coming up with your strategic plan so that you are going beyond just summarizing what the textbook says, okay? Now, for this assignment, you will begin your 6 domain leadership strategic plan. And it's broken up that every time you do a domains assignment, you'll do 2 domains at a time. So that when it's time for you to do the end project, you already have done the pieces to it. You're just going to put it all together. So rather than simply answering direct questions, you're going to analyze a hypothetical school scenario and then craft a leadership action plan that addresses the core challenges using the concepts from domains 1 and 2. Again, what you read in your textbook. You don't have to do a Google search. You don't have to go out and read additional articles. The information that I want to read is going to come directly from your textbook. So please, please, please spend time reading chapter 1 and chapter 2. Now, let's look at our scenario-based analysis, right? It's 1.5 pages, guys. So please, please stick to the page requirements. 2 pages is the limit. Thank you. Now, you're going to choose one of the following school scenarios. Either you're going to pick the one about a high poverty urban rural elementary school with declining math and literacy scores, or you're going to pick a suburban middle school who is experiencing wide achievement gaps between student subgroups, or you're going to pick an urban rural high school struggling with curriculum alignment and inconsistent instruction. So those are the three different scenarios that you can choose from. If you're in an elementary school, you can work with your mentor to kind of talk about what does that look like? What is declining math and literacy scores? What is that impact on the school? And then go to your Marzano and Carbo and read about ways that you can improve upon those scores and be becoming a data focused school. If you're the person picking the middle school, wide achievement gaps between student subgroups, that's interesting in that that is the way that most schools get into ATSI. You have high proficiencies in your overall populations, but when you drill down into your subgroups, your African American students, your EL students, your SPED students, your low socioeconomic students. When that gap widens in those areas, what would you do as a leader to fix that, right? Or if you have a curriculum where the ELA teachers or the English 1, 2, 3, 4 teachers are not aligning the curriculum and then the instruction is inconsistent. That could also be a horizontal. If I have four English 2 teachers and one is having benchmark data that's very high, but then I have some others in that grade or in that group of teachers department that are not performing at that level. So then that is going to give you some inconsistency in instruction, which then, the curriculum. So you need to go in and figure out what would you do if we're being a database school and we are aligning our things curriculum focused and we're aligning everything. So those are your three different scenarios, and I tried to give you a little bit to them so you kind of wrap your head around what that means. So let's look at what is being asked of you right here where it says domain 1 and 2. Please respond to the questions below using a third person format, and we talked about that at length during our virtual class to guide you in developing a plan. Your response should be between 1 and 2 pages long, not including the cover and reference page. So pause right there for a moment. When you turn this assignment in, you will need a cover page, you will need your 1 to 2 pages in the middle, and then you will need a reference page at the end. Your reference page should be a separate sheet from your 1 to 2 pages. So in total, I will see 4 pages, but 2 of those pages will be where you have done the assignment. Now, moving on. Number one, ask, what would an administrator do to ensure that planning decisions are based on the specific school's data to improve student achievement? You will need an in-text citation for the information you provide because your information should come from the textbook information. I've said that twice, so y'all see how important it is. And then question 2, you'll be looking at as a leader, how does one ensure that each student receives a valuable and guaranteed curriculum? You will need an in-text citation for the information you provide because your information should come from the textbook information. See how we just like said that twice for the 2 questions? So as you're looking at your scenarios, the one that you select as you're going through that in your mind and you're thinking up how would you respond to these problem areas in your school. These are the questions that you have to ask yourself as you're reading the textbook to formulate a response. Now, let's look at the format that we will be using. So the format, the chosen school scenario is listed as a header for this assignment. If you put that there, put it in bold. That'll let you know you can refer back to it. You are going to use in-text citations, at least 2 per domain from the textbook. That does not mean a direct quote. That means I'm going to use the information that I read to respond. And so if I'm going to use the information that I've read, then I have to give the authors of the textbook credit. So I will use in-text citations. That's what all of that means, right? And to finalize that, I am then going to add a reference page so that I can show where my information came from. Now, use headings to organize your writing and make sure you have answered the questions. It's very essential that you answer the question. You should make sure that you integrate textbook concepts, but adapt it into your own language and analysis. This will keep your Turnitin score low on your when you turn in your document. And if you're using in-text citations, please use them correctly. Do not cut and paste anything. Um, your final submission should be written in your voice and based directly on your understanding of the textbook. Do not plagiarize. And guys, let me explain this AI generated content. If you use AI, Turnitin does pick it up. And if I see a score for that, I will put in the grade book a 0. And I will ask that you please resubmit the assignment without the use of AI. And if I do that too often, then the points start being deducted. So let's keep that in mind. Anytime that your Microsoft 365 gives you a suggestion, like you have an incorrect verb, please type it. Don't click on it because every time you click on it, AI is generated at that moment. So please, if there is a suggestion from Office 365, you type that in because I would hate for that to be the reason that your paper is kicked back with a 0 because it says it's AI generated. Now, as you complete this assignment, I want you to keep in mind that you are not simply restating the domains or the elements. You are going to be using the information from the domains within the textbook to answer the questions above. You should only use your textbook for information. Again, I don't need Google information, nor do I need you to go out and read other articles to critique. So everything you need for this assignment is in your textbook. And as always, there's a rubric that is listed just so that you know how I'm going to grade this. As I'm reading your paper, this is what I'm looking for. That you are going to talk about how to improve your scenario by being data driven focused, as well as how you're going to make sure that there is a viable and guaranteed curriculum. Um, and then the formatting. I will be looking for exactly what is stated, that you have a correct cover page. And as I said in our virtual class, download the one that is in your resources on the module. I'm also going to be looking for grammatically correct. Please do not type like you talk, right? So I need you to use graduate level verbiage or graduate level written communication. So be mindful of that. And if you've been out of school for a while, like I had before I came back, go and ask somebody else to read it for you. I promise you it will help in the long run. You need to have the necessary in-text citations. There is a reference, you have to have a reference page, and I don't need to see more than 4 pages, right? Keep in mind, it's a lot of you and one of me trying to grade all of these things. I know my high school people get that if you are a block teacher and you have to teach all the blocks and having to grade all the things. That is a quick rundown of what you guys will need to be successful for week 2 assignment. And it's all assignments must have a cover page. Keep that in mind. Download the one that's in our references. Go ahead and start working on your data project, the SMART goals assignment that you have to get submitted. Go ahead and be gathering that data and figuring out what it is you're going to use for this assignment, okay? You are going to gather the most recent classroom or grade level data. You can't really use school-wide, so just make sure we're pulling the data that's necessary for this assignment. Um, It'll be used for your data, your project 1, which is due on September 14th. So be mindful. I need to correct that. It's not part 2, it's still part 1, guys. We're still at part 1. That way you're not rushed when it's time to get going on this assignment. Go ahead and start working ahead and gaining that traction with getting the data ready. All right, that's all I have for week 2. As always, if you have questions or concerns, do not inbox me, email me. I will see the email, I will not see the inbox. So have a great week. I will have this posted and I will get week 3 up and ready for you next Sunday. So have a great day and I look forward to reading your assignments that you submit. Have a great day. Bye-bye.